Welcome to Pop's Party Family, where fun and magic come alive. New videos and shorts every day. Let's laugh, learn, and play. Hey!
They thought it was a magic rock, but it hid a secret treasure. Parta. What if someone told you that a giant treasure was hidden under an old rock in your town? But for years everyone walked right past it? Sounds impossible, right? Well, in the small American town of Maple Creek, Colorado, one funny summer vacation turned into the greatest treasure hunt anyone had ever seen. But here's the shocking part. The treasure wasn't hidden by magic. It was hidden by people's own foolishness. Stay until the end because the biggest surprise is still waiting. Every summer, Grandma Martha loved having her grandchildren visit her cozy farmhouse. This year was extra special because her daughters, Emily from Chicago and Sarah from Seattle, had also come for a short vacation. Their kids, Jake, Lily, Ben, Emma, Noah, and Sophie, filled the house with laughter, running feet, and endless questions. Grandpa George smiled and joked, "Looks like a tornado checked into our house." The next morning, Emily and Sarah had to return to work. Their vacation days were over, but the children were staying with Grandma and Grandpa for 2 whole weeks. The kids cheered so loudly that a sleepy rooster jumped into a bucket of water. Everyone burst into laughter while Grandpa wiped tears from his eyes and said, "Best alarm clock I've ever seen." As Grandma, Emily, and Sarah walked through Maple Creek Park before saying goodbye, the young mothers sighed. "Mom," Emily said, "how do you keep these kids so calm? Mine argue over everything, even the last cookie." Sarah laughed. "Yesterday, Ben and Noah argued for 10 minutes about whose shadow was bigger." Grandma Martha smiled but said nothing for a moment. Finally, Grandma said, "Books can teach you many things, but life teaches you even more. Don't believe everything you hear without thinking about it first." The girls looked confused. Grandma winked and added, "That reminds me of the funniest story about a donkey, a stick, and a treasure." The daughters immediately forgot they were adults. Tell us now," they begged, like little kids. That evening, after Grandma served warm apple pie with vanilla ice cream, everyone gathered around the fireplace. Even the family dog, Buddy, curled up nearby as if he wanted to hear the story too. Grandpa whispered, "Buddy only stays for the pie crumbs." Right on cue, Buddy sneezed, sending pie crumbs onto Grandpa's nose. The kids laughed so hard they nearly fell off their chairs. Grandma began. "Many years ago, not far from here, there was a busy road called Liberty Trail. Farmers, travelers, delivery wagons, horses, and even marching bands used it every day. One sunny afternoon, a group of school children noticed a huge old rock beside the road. It looked ordinary, but something strange was carved into it. The children brushed away dirt and leaves until 2 simple pictures appeared. One was a donkey, and the other looked like a long metal stick. "Maybe it's pirate treasure," Jake guessed. "Maybe aliens left it," Ben shouted. Emma whispered dramatically, "Or maybe it's cursed." Suddenly a squirrel jumped out of a bush, making everyone scream before realizing it was only a squirrel. Even Grandma laughed while telling the story. Soon, almost the whole town gathered around the mysterious rock. Everyone had a different idea. One man insisted it was an ancient map. Another claimed it predicted the weather. A little girl said the donkey looked exactly like her stubborn uncle. The uncle pretended to be offended, but everyone laughed anyway. No one could agree on what the pictures meant. Finally, someone suggested asking the wise old teacher who lived at a peaceful farm outside town. But when the crowd arrived, they learned he had left on a long journey months earlier. Only his young helper, Ethan, remained behind. Ethan loved pretending he knew everything, even when he had absolutely no idea. He smiled confidently, walked toward the strange rock, folded his arms, and said, "Don't worry. I know exactly what these pictures mean." The crowd gasped, moved closer, and waited for his answer, never realizing that one silly sentence was about to change the whole town forever. Everyone crowded around Ethan so quickly that poor Mr. Wilson almost lost his hat. A little boy climbed onto a fence to see better, while someone's goat somehow ended up standing beside Ethan like it was his assistant. Ethan cleared his throat, crossed his arms, and spoke in a deep voice. "People of Maple Creek, I have solved the mystery." The crowd became completely silent. Ethan pointed dramatically at the carving. "This stick is not an ordinary stick. It is the magic staff of the Great Guardian. Long ago, a brave hero protected this town with it. The donkey is a warning. Anyone who walks past this rock without showing respect will have the luck of a donkey forever." The crowd gasped. One little girl whispered, "I don't want donkey luck." Everyone nodded nervously. By the very next morning, the town had built a tiny wooden shrine around the rock. Travelers stopped to bow, leave flowers, coins, fruit, cookies, and even homemade pies. Grandpa Joe laughed. "I've never seen a rock eat so well." Of course, the rock never ate anything. Ethan quietly collected most of the gifts for himself when no one was looking. Ethan loved his new job. Instead of cleaning barns and feeding cows, he now sat in a comfortable rocking chair all day. Whenever someone arrived, he closed his eyes, waved his hands in the air, and mumbled nonsense like "Booma, Zuma, Kalamazoo, Blessaroo." The visitors were amazed. One tourist even whispered, "Wow, that sounds ancient." Ethan almost laughed but managed to keep a serious face. Soon the stories became even crazier. One man claimed he found $5 after visiting the rock. Another woman said her apple pie turned out perfect because she bowed to it first. A little boy shouted, "My dog listened to me today. The magic rock really works." Everyone believed every story, even though they were only funny coincidences. The more people believed, the bigger the crowd became. One afternoon, Grandpa George interrupted Grandma's story with a grin. "If someone said a mailbox could make you rich, people would probably line up there too." The children burst into laughter. Jake joked, "Maybe we should start worshiping Grandpa's old lawnmower." Even Buddy barked loudly, making everyone laugh even harder. Back in the story, Ethan's life became easier every day. He enjoyed fresh cakes, juicy apples, warm bread, and baskets full of gifts. His clothes became cleaner, his cheeks became rounder, and he proudly told everyone, "Hard work is overrated." But while Ethan grew comfortable, the real meaning of the mysterious carving remained hidden under everyone's noses. Months passed, and something strange happened. The road around the shrine became full of holes because no one repaired it anymore. Wagons bounced, bicycles tipped over, and one farmer's pumpkins rolled everywhere after his cart hit a bump. Children chased the runaway pumpkins through town, laughing until they couldn't breathe. Nobody realized that the mystery rock itself held the answer to fixing the road. Then, one bright morning, exciting news spread through Maple Creek. "The wise old teacher is coming home today," people shouted from house to house. Ethan's smile slowly disappeared. For the first time in months, he felt nervous. "What if he asks questions?" he whispered to himself. A cold breeze blew past, and even the goat standing nearby gave him a suspicious look. That evening, Grandma Martha looked at the children and said softly, "Do you know what the biggest mistake the townspeople made?" Emma guessed. "Believing Ethan?" Grandma smiled. "Yes, but there is an even bigger lesson. Never believe something just because someone sounds confident. Ask questions, think carefully, and use your own mind. Wisdom grows when curiosity leads the way." Just then, Grandma continued the story. The next morning, the wise teacher walked toward the crowded shrine, took one look at the rock, and smiled in a way that made Ethan's heart race. The wise teacher has returned, and Ethan knows his lie may soon be exposed. The mysterious symbols mean something completely different from what everyone believes, but only the wise teacher can understand them. Moral of Part A. Don't believe everything you hear. Think for yourself, ask questions, and use your brain before following others. End of Part A.
Thank you for watching. We're so glad you're here. Like, share, subscribe, and spread the cheer. Join the Hop Street family today.